Hey, David Breslow back here with you. In today's mental game golf tip, I'd like to talk to you about the first tee jitters. This is a pretty common issue for a lot of golfers. Even experienced golfers can have what we commonly call the first tee jitters. Why is that? Well, the first tee is often the one moment. See, you're at the practice range, you're comfortable, everything's going pretty well, there's no pressure, and then all of a sudden you go to the first tee, and what happens? All of a sudden we start feeling a little nervous, our hands start shaking a little bit, we start noticing who's standing around us, our mind goes off into all sorts of places that it really shouldn't be going. But what really happened? Honestly, there's one simple thing that happened. The only thing that really happened between the driving range or the parking lot and the first tee is that your thoughts changed. That's the only thing that happened. Now, I'm called Mr. Simple in the golf business for a reason. Because I say things like that it's really that simple. There's only one thing that changed, and it was a thought. Think about this for a second. When you were at the range, what were you thinking about? Most golfers will say to me, well, I was just thinking about, taking a good swing at the ball and just relaxing, making solid contact, just getting my rhythm, so on and so forth. Then they go to the first tee, and what happens? What are you thinking about there? Oh, well, I was thinking about, geez, I got to get off well here, because if I don't hit a good first shot, I tend to not play the first hole very well, or there's some people here waiting, tee time's behind us and they're watching, and oh geez, we were a couple minutes late for our tee time, and so I figure I got to hurry a little bit. All sorts of things are going through their mind. Are you getting it? That's the only thing that changed, was their thought. Their thought went from something very comfortable, very nice, working on my rhythm, working on solid contact, working on just a feel for the swing, all those beautiful things, to, oh my gosh, people are watching, oh my gosh, it's the first tee, this counts. It's one of the most common thoughts that go through golfers' head. This counts now. All of a sudden at the driving range, it didn't count because there was no score, right? Now on the first tee, it counts. Okay, big problem. That's the only thing that changed. So the first tee jitters, if you understand the process in things, it's not the jitters that are the problem. The only reason you're having the jitters is because you had a thought that changed. Thoughts come first, always. If you know anything about me in the Wired to Win program, you know there's a sequence in things. It's unbreakable. You can't change it. I don't care what you hear in the world of psychology. I don't care what you hear in the world of tips and strategies. There's a sequence that is unbreakable. Thoughts occur first. Period. So look at the proof. You got it. It's right in front of you. You don't have to believe me. When you're at the driving range and you're comfortable, what are you thinking? Ask yourself. You'll see. When you go to the first tee, what are you thinking? You'll see right away that you're thinking something different. And because you're thinking something different, your body is having a different reaction. That's the sequence. Thinking, emotion, action, and outcome. That's the performance formula that my clients learn in the Wired to Win program. It's very simple. 4 processes. A core trigger. One of them is thought. There are 5 core triggers. One of them is thought. You have a thought that triggers an emotion. Emotion only comes after thought. That emotion then triggers an action or a behavior. That's when your body starts to tremble and starts to shake. That's a physical action. Then you have an outcome. What's the outcome? You wind up taking a kind of a maybe crappy swing or something well under your actual physical capabilities. That's the outcome. Do you get it? There's a sequence there. It's not my sequence. It's the way all human beings are made. So the first tee jitters, if you want to get rid of the jitters, stop with all the tips and strategies to try to deal with all your nervousness and anxiety. The reality is, get to the root. And that root is a single thought. If you don't believe me, you go out to the golf course, check in with yourself. What am I thinking at the range while I'm here right now? You'll find out that you're thinking something pretty cool, probably. Now when you go to the first tee, ask yourself, what am I thinking? Chances are you will discover you're thinking something very, very different. That is the cause for your jitters, and that's it. So if you like what you're thinking at the range, here's the solution for you. Why don't you take that to the first tee? Why don't you go to the first tee and focus on rhythm, focus on making solid contact, focus on enjoying the flow of your swing, the very same things you do at the range. Why can't you go to the first tee and do that? I'm willing to bet that if you do that, you're going to end up taking a much different and a much better golf swing than you may be taking now when you have the first tee jitters. So, very important training session here for you today. Thought is the trigger and the core trigger for all of those emotions, actions, and outcomes that you're having on the first tee. Everywhere else on the golf course too. So Dave Breslow, glad to be back with you once again in today's mental golf training tip. And of course, you're always welcome to go to www.mentalgolf.com and leave me a note here on this webpage as well. We'd love to get into a cyber chat with you. And my pleasure to be here. Talk to you soon. Take care.